The meeting of the Durant Tourism Economic Development Authority is called to order at 3:10. If we could have the invocation and the flag salute. Jeff, would you?
I will. Please pray with me. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and for being with each of us, and we ask you to be with us while we make decisions for this authority. Lord, please make the best interests of our community in our hearts and in our minds. In Jesus' name, amen.
And the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Jeremy, would you do the roll call, please? Debbie's unable to be here today.
Trustee Anthony. Trustee Calhoun.
Here.
Trustee Thorpe.
Here.
Trustee Walker. Vice Chairman Reed.
Here.
Chairman Scher.
We do have a quorum present.
Trustee Shattuck.
Here.
I'm sorry.
Here.
Sorry. We do have a quorum present. With that, we'll move on to the order of business. Discuss and consider approval of minutes from May 31st, regular meeting. If you've had time to review those, if I could get a first and a second.
I make a motion and we approve the minutes as presented.
I second it.
We have a first by Jeff Shattuck and a second by Mr. Calhoun. Also, I just want to point out on the minutes that underneath the header is just a full board meeting can be viewed. It gives the link to the YouTube channel. So if you ever have questions about the minutes, if you would like to go back and watch that, it's available. With that being said, would you call roll, please?
We already did.
For the minutes, approval of the minutes.
Would you like me to do that?
Yes, we don't have a secretary.
Okay, gotcha. Alrighty, Trustee Anthony? Just call people that are here? Since quorum's already been established?
Yes,
Yeah.
you can.
Trustee Calhoun?
Here.
Trustee Thorpe? Here. Trustee Shattuck?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Reed?
Yes. Review of the financial report, Mr. Shattuck.
Okay. We have our funds balance estimation for 6/30/22 in your packet. It looks like this. If you want to look at this, Charlie, you can find that one.
I think the pages are numbered too, Jeff, in there.
Okay.
The very
Okay.
bottom.
Very good. The best of our abilities, we came up with a beginning budget value amount at $916,037.91 as of 5/31/22. Revenues for June came in at $35,516. Expenses for June $73,420.21. I think most of that was just trying to clear up stuff and get things paid before year end. Is the reason why that amount is higher than normal, and it's everything's within the budget, so everything looked good there. And then if you add back our final encumbered amount for 2021-2022, you'll see that number 31,709.30. We add that back into that number because it hasn't been spent, but it is already it's already included in that top number. So we got to add it back to get a better, clearer picture of where we're at if we had a checkbook. So that would leave a balance of $909,843 approximately at this time is what we have available going forward to the best of my ability.
Are there any questions?
Well, and maybe it's an easy answer, but over on page 8.
8, okay.
It has the number $949,611.02.
It does. And my thought process with that would be 949, 611. Charlie, it very well could be that number as far as our beginning balance number. But I'm thinking maybe, what's this? Let me do something real
I
quick.
think maybe the date on that, Jeff.
What's that? Is the date not 5/31 on what Charlie's looking at?
Oh, yes, it is. I'm sorry, I just flipped it over. It is. I was
Let me
thinking
do
that it
something real
was.
quick, Charlie. 949, 611, 01, 35, 516, minus. No, it didn't work that way. 35, 516 minus. $949, 611, 914. If you take the 949, 611, which is on page 8, and you subtract off the revenue for June, it comes really close to that number, Charlie, but it's not on that number. So if you'd like us, we can start going off of that number that we have. It actually helps us in this case by
There's 3 variances in there that are going to be hard to capture any month. And one of those variances, there's an interest earned from the city that we're not privy to. We don't know what that number is going to be. It's not very much, but it's enough to throw it off. The second one is that any time that lodging outperforms what's budgeted, that gets put into revenue. And again, we don't see that number until it kicks out. That's that part of that 86,544 that's added to get that 949 on page 8. That revenue's over and under expenses. So if the lodging tax is collected more, we don't see that on our budget side from us because it's not money that that really changed hands on our side. And then the third one is, that's what I was talking about before, the under expenses. So if we don't spend a full amount, and that's usually from print materials, again, you may vary a few $100s, but over the course of the year, those 3 factors, month to month, that's going to be very hard to go down to the penny because we don't have 2/3 of that data.
Well, who does?
The city does, and we pay the city to do the financials.
Can't we ask for that?
But you can ask.
Well, the numbers that are based on the amount, the percentage of the interest is going to vary from month to month.
Well, I understand there's a variance.
Uh-huh.
It's here now and gone tomorrow. It's kind of like that shell game. And I'm just wondering.
Where it goes?
Yeah, where to go?
Charlie, if it would help if we could do this. I know we were supposed to meet and you were unavailable to meet before we came. I think it would help if we sat down with Ann and brought her in. But there again, Ann's not going to be able to tell us how the exact amount that interest is going to be on.
It's got to be somewhere.
Well, it's based on the amount that's in the account, but that's also the expenditures have to come out on that. We did, over 70,000 in expenditures this month because this is the end of the year. Ann doesn't know that we're going to do POs for $70,000, nor do we until we know what's been approved. So that's going to vary from month to month. The interest is.
So the interest accrues, it accrues every month, right?
Yes.
So you can get by the month.
Isn't that a number that could be used in these numbers?
Well, keep in mind that we're really 2 months behind when they send those out. So.
Well, somebody's used that number.
Yes, and.
Can't we do that?
we can ask.
We can certainly ask. We can certainly ask and see if we can and how that's accrued and what exactly that is accrued on.
I mean, if I came up and couldn't explain something on my business, I'd have my manager sitting down and explain it to him and showing me. I mean, I want to know where, even if it's a penny, I want to know where it went.
And I understand.
We understand that. You guys have been doing this for several years now and
Yes.
haven't ever gotten this
We haven't
straightened
got,
out. So
no. And municipality bookkeeping is different then I think Jeff can attest to that.
Yeah.
Being a banker, that
It's totally different.
he's a little confused at times.
Totally.
Well, there's not supposed to be any confusion according to our documentation that was voted on by the people. There's not supposed to be any confusion between this authority and the city of Durant.
Let's just schedule a meeting with Ann, yourself, and Jeff, and I'll be glad to sit in on that so we can begin to understand from her standpoint, and she can, I think, explain it a little bit better than we can, because she's the one that works with these figures on a day-to-day basis. Would that be okay with you?
Yeah, of course, it'd be all right with me if Jeff was able to explain it to me whenever, I mean, he's our treasurer.
It'd be all right with me too,
Jeff, it
Charlie.
sounds like a challenge to me.
All right, we're gonna do it.
Let's go ahead and move on. Is there any other further discussion? Okay. With that being said, do I hear a motion to approve the financials?
We don't need one.
We don't need one, that's right. Thank you.
Trustee Calhoun?
We don't need one.
Don't need one.
Don't need a vote.
Okay, discuss and consider approval of contract with the City of Durant for the beautification of Highway 6975 and the Main Street exit corridor. I believe that Jason has two separate contracts that have been laid out that the committee and the city have looked at, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Jason, go ahead.
There's two
Comment.
versions of the contract there in front of you. Each of them is for a period of 5 years. The first year, we pay them more because that's when they have the big, more expenses, and then we pay them less thereafter in both versions. The first version offers them $126,773.25 for the first year and $68,000 every year thereafter to maintain that area. What is enumerated in there that we're expecting of them is to mow, edge, trim, and weed eat that area, pick up any trash that accumulates, apply fertilizer, weed killer, and pre-emergent grass for the season, and any other tasks deemed necessary by the city or requested by the authority for that area, for the contract area. The second version of the contract gives them $102,000 the first year and $42,500 per year thereafter to be paid out monthly in both versions of the contract. It's just, which one do you guys want
You
to
said
offer to them?
You said one of the the first contract pays for the employee totally, and the second one pays half of it. The city.
The difference
Pays
is
the other half.
essentially the second version pays half of the labor for the employee that they anticipate needing to put out there to maintain that area. They're anticipating somebody needing to be out there full time to maintain that area, and the difference is us offering to pay 100% for that person versus approximately 50% for that person.
We had voted to have a subcommittee work with you on it.
Yes, sir.
What are their comments?
Well,
Only
Well, I
one.
wasn't able to do it. I tried to do with the manager, and then I didn't finish up with you, so who did you meet with?
I talked to Cole, and his version was his idea was the lesser dollar amount that we're preparing.
So you talked to Cole and the manager?
John Dean, the city manager?
Yeah.
Yes. And the city seems to be okay with either version.
And so this is like Cole's
It's
suggestions.
Cole's numbers.
Second one.
The second one is Cole's numbers.
Have you had a chance to look at it?
Not looking at it now, but what it is we just never could get together, apparently him and Cole. I guess Cole called you up?
He did. Or rather, I called him, but yeah. I finally talked to Cole on the phone.
What is the? Can you explain the decelerator for us, please?
That's something in case for some reason revenue that is raised through this tax falls off a cliff, then the amount that we pay the city to maintain that goes down also, because that would be anticipating that there's less money in the authority to pay for things, and so
Okay.
makes it so that it costs us less to pay for that because we don't have as much money. And that was something that we've included in previous contracts, and so I thought it would be
That
cool.
was with the contract with, the
Yes.
chambers, well, so, okay.
Mr. Dean, could we get you to come up for a minute? Are you satisfied with all the parts of the agreement here?
Yes, sir. I reviewed them just previous to the meeting, and they seem to be sufficient, so.
See anything else in there that you needed, or did that take care of it?
Well, I think they took the numbers that we provided at the last meeting, and they used those numbers as a base, I believe. Is that, so, and even at the 102,000, that'll go a long ways to help us maintain that area, I think, so. You know, I mean, I think we, as a city, we do have a responsibility, right?
Did you
So,
see anything in there that you didn't like?
no, sir, I was fine with what's in there.
Do we have an Exhibit A?
That is the map.
It was in last month.
Yes, sir.
It was in last month.
It's the map that they brought us last time that shows, it was outlined, the whole 23 acres total area that they're going to maintain.
I don't think we ever got that. We saw it.
I never did.
We never did get that map.
Okay, I can bring copies for everybody.
I believe that was in the packet. I think they did.
It wasn't, it
include
was something that John brought to the meeting himself.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
I ended up taking it, but it got passed around, but then it left the
Okay.
meeting with me.
So you'll give us some out.
I will.
And just for clarification, if you remember, does it go from Radio Road to 21st or?
No, I don't think it goes that far.
That far?
west.
It goes up from Sherwin-Williams almost up to Walmart, that median.
Sure, well, Sherwin-Williams.
Right, it goes from University Place, which is the
Oh, yeah,
intersection
Walmart,
at Main
okay. Yeah.
and University Place, right there from Walmart.
Okay.
And then it goes to 21st.
Oh, it
So-
does, okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
and
And then
it
it
did go
goes
to
north
21st.
to, I'll say the wrong road if I get it. I believe it's
Bryan Drive?
Live Oak. It's one of those that parallels it, because
Could
Bryan
be
Drive
Live Oak.
runs north-south. So it goes north to where the on and off ramps actually end, is where
Okay.
it goes to, okay? So if you're getting off or coming on to 69,
It'll start right there.
75, because I mean, that's where you see, right? That's where you get your first impression from there.
Yeah.
That's why we went that far north with the map,
Okay,
so.
very nice.
Yes, sir.
We sure appreciate you working with us like that. I think it's gonna make it better for us as far as beautification, and it'll help us on tourism too. Like I said, you've got all your 6 hotels out there, and they're paying all the tax, so I think it's gonna be a benefit for the whole city.
Yes, sir.
I thought everyone was through. I was just going to call for a motion.
I make a motion that I'm gonna go with Cole's plan, which is, and I appreciate the city working with us on this, but a motion for a contract for 5 years, first year at 102,000, and then every year thereafter 42,500 for the remaining term.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Calhoun?
Yes?
Trustee Shattuck?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Reed?
Yes. Let's move on to item number 4. Discuss and consider approval to seek video production cost on a co-op project with Durant Industrial Authority. And I believe Lisa is going to do a presentation on that. Excuse me, Ms. Taylor.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thanks for listening today. This is actually a co-op project opportunity with Team Durant. So I wanted to share that we do have more than just Durant Industrial Authority on this project. We're working with the Chamber of Commerce, Durant Main Street, Comiskey Technology Center, Oklahoma Small Business Development Center, REI Women's Business Center, and the Choctaw Nation Business Center. So a lot of partners already collaborating on this effort. You may have heard a little bit of what we've got going on, but just in case you haven't, I'm going to go ahead and share some details. We're working on educating our local businesses, giving them skills on becoming more successful business owners. When you're a small business owner, like many of you have been, you go into business and you're very good at the thing you go into business to do, but you maybe don't have the knowledge or the skills to successfully run the business. So the financials, you don't typically have a business plan unless you've you know to have one. So we're teaching our local businesses those skills that will help them become more successful. This idea was born last fall, and our team has worked together to create a small business boot camp. It's a 13-week course. Our partners, the Oklahoma Small Business Development Center, REI Women's Business Center, and Choctaw Nation Business Development Center are the technical advisors and the trainers. They developed the curriculum and their training. Currently, so we had an application process. Currently, we have 14 participants in the cohort, and they are, I believe, 1 month. This is the end of 1 month that they've been in class. We've been hearing great reviews from the participants. We hope to graduate them the end of August. Again, that's a 13-week curriculum. So during this time, we'll be bringing in 2 consultants, DIA, DIA through sponsorships and through our own budget. We're paying to bring 2 consultants in from out of state as specials to present or offer education. When they come in, we're hoping to record some of that for use at later date to educate additional businesses. So the boot camp is small of a larger plan, obviously. We're also developing a comprehensive small business resource guide. We've been gathering information for that since January. We hope to have that published by the end of this next month and pushed out. It'll be a Bryan County guide. If you're a person looking to start a business or you're already in business in Bryan County, it can provide you information about what are the steps, what do you need to do, everything from getting your business incorporated to when you move in your building, what are the ordinances that affect you. A lot of information in there. So that's the next thing we hope to roll out. Durant Industrial Authority a couple months ago adopted 2 small business grant programs and budgeted for them. City Council also followed up and approved that to budget for expenditure. The first small business grant program that we put in place is a $2,000 technology grant program. So that can be used for purchasing a laptop or desktop computer for use in their business to run the business. So their QuickBooks or other financial documents or anything. And then they can also use that for like point of sale, or we even had one talk to us about internet access in their business, things like that. To be eligible for the technology grant, it's $2,000. To be eligible, you must be enrolled in the boot camp, and we did that on purpose because we really want to get in front of those business owners, get to know them, and help them be successful. The second small business grant that we put into place and budgeted for is just a general assistance grant for small businesses in the amount of $5,000 each, and that can be used for various things such as capital improvements if they've got a piece of equipment they need to upgrade or replace, building facades, building renovations, things like that. The things that are unallowable are like inventory. We're not gonna pay for inventory for a business, right? So those are the 2 grants, and to be eligible for the second grant, you either have to graduate from the boot camp or you have to complete 30 hours of small business training and or technical assistance from one of our training providers, which again are the 3 here in Durant, the Small Business Development Center, REI Women's Business Center, or the Choctaw Nation Business Development Center. And those grants are available to small businesses. There are some criteria. The main one is that they must be located in one of the 4 census tracts that have been designated as distressed areas in our community. I can show those to you. If you want to reach out to me, I'll get you the map. But it's basically, from Washington all the way east. It goes north on 1st Street, goes down south on 9th Street. It encompasses all of the Main Street district. So it's a pretty broad area in our town, but it is the area that needs the most help. So with all that being said, we're looking for an additional partner. We've been building this ship as we're sailing it, because every time we think we've got everything we want for this comprehensive offering for our community, we think of one more thing that would just make it a little bit better. And the thing that we're needing to document as we're going through this process, but we want to most of all, document by video recording our consultants that we're paying money to bring in. One of our consultants we're bringing in is coming from Chicago. She's well-known. Oklahoma Main Street Center has actually brought her in before. Arkansas has brought her to Arkansas to do some classes, and we're bringing her here in the end of August at a cost of $5,000. Another consultant we're bringing in comes from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Her cost is $2,500. These are being covered by DIA and by our sponsors. So we're looking for how we're going to record that and capture it so we can use it in future boot camp sessions or just for other networking opportunities where we might play the videos for our small businesses here. Right now, we're not sure what that will cost. Reached out to Janet last week to see, or we're just kind of reaching out to our partners to see if any of their existing staff have the capability or knowledge on how to, if they have the experience in producing one of these videos. And we've come up short. Nobody really feels confident in doing that. So when I reached out to Janet, we talked about, potentially hiring somebody. At this point, I don't know how much we're looking at. I'm looking at Janet shaking her head there. But we are looking for assistance in getting somebody hired.
I think what you're asking is a partnership from us, but we need permission from this board to go out and seek cost on what that production would cost before we can bring that back. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how much are you asking from this board?
There's not a dollar amount at this time because we have to get permission from the authority to go out and seek, for lack of a better term, a bid to see what the production cost would be. We do have some resources available locally that do that. We just have not been able to sit down with them and get a cost. All we're asking for at this point is approval from the authority to move forward with this so that we can bring you back cost hopefully next month with
Talking
that.
about the Durant Industrial Authority, right?
Team Durant, so it's all of the partners. Durant Industrial Authority actually is kind of we've led up a lot of the effort. We have budgeted $260,000 for the small business grants. We're hoping.
That's amazing.
We have 4 applications in for the technology grant right now that'll be on DIA's agenda next week. I hope to see those approved. That'll be great. But $260,000 that we've budgeted for that. And then the other expenses, so we have $7,500 that's going toward consultants. We have $5,000 budgeted for the development and printing of this small business resource guide. So we've budgeted for all of these things.
I'll just reword it there. How much do you estimate that you want from this board?
Jim,
Question or did Janet have a question?
we don't know because we don't have a cost. We have to get approval from the authority to move forward with this.
If you would prefer to just sponsor it in a monetary value, we do have 3 sponsorships available. The first one is $1,500. The middle way is $3,000, and the top sponsorship is $5,000. $5,000 gets you in front of the cohort. You'll be the sponsor, your logo and a full-page ad in the resource guide. So it comes with stuff, and I'm doing this by memory because I don't have it in front of me right now. But if you would prefer to sponsor it, I mean, you can do that, and then we can take care of the going out for bids and doing all of that stuff.
What is,
You're looking at the video production too. So what is the video production going to consist of? Downtown,
So this so this video production is not for going out to the general. It's not an advertisement. It's not a marketing piece for Durant.
Okay,
It is a piece that will be used specifically with our businesses who are bringing tourism to town. So people come into our businesses to shop, so on and so forth. These will be used to save costs in the future for bringing more consultants back or bringing the same consultants back in the future.
okay. So what will be on the video?
So we'll have them record our consultants when they come and piece it together. So there are hands-on portions to each of our classes, and then there are learning in the classroom. So it will be someone videoing bits and pieces of all of that and pulling it all together in a in a learning experience or a course module.
It will be a training video.
Correct.
Once it's completed. Can I, again, what was the commitment that DIA has already? I think you said 260,000. that
The
they had
small business
committed.
grants, we've budgeted $260,000.
Okay.
The consultants are just the two that we have confirmed so far, are $7,500.
So on the small business loans, what's the top on that per business?
Per business, if they get both and they're grants, not loans. So both grants total to $7,000. $7,000. There's a $2,000 grant and a $5,000 grant. If they qualify for both and are funded for both, that's $7,000.
How are you communicating this with all of the business owners in town?
So,
Because I
So the first-
hadn't heard of it
Right.
myself.
right. So the technology grant is $2,000 and it's only available if you're enrolled in the boot camp.
But
So
how do you
hang-
communicate with Joe Blow down here that's got a snow
Right,
cone trailer that he's trying to make a living out of?
Right.
How do they know about it?
Yeah, I'm getting to that. So for the first one, you have to be enrolled in the boot camp, and that information went out. This first boot camp was a pilot. So it's our first run at it. Like I said, we're building the ship as we're sailing. So it was designated specifically for, or targeted specifically to businesses located within the historic Main Street district first. Every single business received it via email and received it person to person. Someone handed them the application for the boot camp. So if they're in the boot camp, they're automatically eligible to apply for the grant. The second grant is the $5,000 grant. That one's not going to be made available until probably August. We're still writing the technical documents for it. The first cohort of the boot camp doesn't graduate until the end of August. We have budgeted for 30 grants for businesses that graduate the boot camp, and then 10 additional grants for other businesses that may be able to get that 30 hours in and apply for the grant.
Why does it, you said it starts with downtown Main Street. You got 3 other shopping centers out here. How come they're not included?
This is a pilot, and we initially targeted the downtown historic Main Street district to pilot this on a small scale and see how it was going to work. We also wrote for a grant that told us that we needed to start there. Also, it has to be within one of those 4 distressed census tracts of the city. The big shopping centers, the Walmart and Big Lots and all of those are not located with any of the 4 census tracts that are designated, not by us, they're designated nationally to say that they are the most distressed census tracts in our city. And so that's why we targeted those 4 census tracts.
So how do you qualify? You know, if say downtown Main Street, you know, you look at their bank account, they got $100,000 in there and they still want another $10,000.
Right, we don't ask.
What makes them qualify for that?
Yeah, we don't ask for financial information from them. We're getting down in the weeds. I know
think-
this is. I can chat with y'all outside of this about the technical details about the grants themselves, because I think we're getting off track.
Because some of them might need that grant, but there's some of them that probably doing good that doesn't need that grant.
But all that Lisa is seeking is a partnership from us, and all we need from this authority, if I'm understanding.
Correct.
Is to go out and basically bring back bids and capabilities so that the training video can be used for that in the future. The businesses in the downtown area are the most visited, and you can, back this up with any statistics that you want to look at. Those are the businesses that are most visited in any community when they are traveling through as tourists. So in order to have a viable community, you need to have a strong presence in the downtown area. And I think that was part of the purpose of the grant in the first place, when it specifies that.
We
did it not?
had to identify a target area, and so that's what was identified in the grant. We don't know yet if we're getting that grant or not. but the money we've budgeted to spend it.
But the only thing that you're seeking from the authority is a vote to go ahead and not even to, well, yeah, we need to partner with you, it would be to partner with you, but to also bring the cost of that back. Then the cost can be voted on. If it's something that this committee doesn't see fit at that time, then they don't have to go forward with it.
Well, the reason we're asking you these questions is we're gonna put money into it.
Right.
We want some background and we want to know what's going on.
Right, and I understand that.
We want to vote for something that, you know, just throw up to us or Janet throws up to us.
Right.
And not have information.
No, I completely understand. Yep.
But, you know, there's several other concentrations of businesses in town other than what I heard you mention. Maybe you didn't mention them all, or maybe I didn't understand it.
So the details about the general assistance grants for $5,000 each, that application has not been made public yet. It's not available for anyone to apply yet. We're not going to put that out
I'm not
until
talking
August,
about
and we'll push it
grant.
out to all of them.
I'm talking about how in the world are these people gonna find, because I didn't know anything about it until today. And I'm out and about.
Right.
I know
Because the
all of
grant
the-
was only marketed to those who were eligible at the time. This $2,000 grant is only available to those businesses who are actively enrolled in the boot camp. And it's the first time right now. We will have subsequent boot camps in the future.
Well, I understood that.
Yeah.
What I didn't understand is, how do you understand whether you need to get into a boot camp or not if you don't even know about it?
That's a good question.
So we will, when we have subsequent boot camps, they will be marketed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, thank you.
If we could move on, is there a motion to basically, Jim, at your suggestion, you had mentioned several times that you would like to partner with the DIA because we both use economic development as the platform for the authorities that we serve. This is an opportunity, and it is merely asking, I think, for a authorization from this committee, the authority to move forward.
It's given them the approval to go get bids on.
Exactly.
Sometime in the future, put the video together.
We're just
Do we have a motion?
question for the good of the community, that's what we're asking.
Okay.
Do we have a motion?
I make a motion.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Calhoun,
Yes?
trustee Shattuck,
Yes.
trustee Thorpe,
Yes.
vice chairman Reed.
Yes. Let's move on to 5. Discuss and consider approval of the 2022 Fall Concert Series. If you'll look in your packet on page,
What page is that?
13,
I think we're going to have to put an index in these from now on.
12, and 13.
Okay, thank you.
This is the cost that Overdrive, the one that handled the concert for us last year, an estimated cost. It will be a 4-week production this year. The cost of everything has gone up, as in fuel, as in product. So the artists themselves, because of the travel, each act has gone up. With that being said, I think we're recommending that there be a 4-week instead of a 6-week period, which will be the last 2 weeks of September and the first 2 weeks of October. We would also like to carry a portion of this for both of those months, September and October, and tie it into our Peanut Festival that we're having for the year-round unveiling of the peanut.
Is there an inclement
Yes. The
venue?
inclement will be at the Lost Creek Brewery again. They have been generous enough to donate that facility to us.
I just throw a question out there, and all it is a question. I know, I guess probably 30, 40 years ago, we had community programs that, most of them were, we didn't have the square facility that we've got now. Most of them were out at the Montgomery Auditorium. And they sold tickets to everybody. And, you know, lots of people in town bought them, and out in the county bought them. And they came into these programs. And I guess you might say they paid for themselves. Has this been considered? And would they give us the ability to have more than just 4?
We have visited with the college, but their theater productions that they have are basically year-round, and they are either using those to practice in or carry their own productions in. And
Well,
with
I'm just saying that's the way, that's the venue that they used at that time. I mean, we could use different venues. I'm saying the method of paying for it was done by the people that bought tickets.
Well, and I understand that, but if you remember when we did this last year and voted to move forward, we had basically several of our citizens that asked us to do this. Sherman is providing it with zero cost to their citizens. Denison provides it to zero cost to their citizens. And with that being said, I really don't think the purpose of this authority is to generate an income. It's to produce tourists coming into the area so that hopefully they can stay in the hotels, they can eat in our restaurants, and they can purchase items from retail businesses.
Well, I agree. But I don't know that we've got any way of measuring what kind of people that we've brought in to, maybe for, you know, they come in and need a meal or two, but I don't think there's gonna be that many that come in and stay in any of our accommodation facilities.
And that's strictly up to the authority.
I'm like you, I think they'll bring in a few, but this is not gonna be a pulling card for the hotel.
But there
Can-
again, I think that it does help.
Can we look at lodging for just a second? And if you look at September and October of 2021, they were significantly higher. I don't know why. I'm just putting that out there. They were higher.
You know, ever since we had the pandemic that came through, our regular patterns, I don't think have been followed, do you?
No, not if you look at year over year, month to month, over year. No, there's no pattern to it as far as
There used to be a pretty
you
good
don't see
pattern.
the same. Yeah, and you're not here. And I'm just throwing that out there because I don't know the answer. But you know, September of 21 was our biggest month in a long time. August was just behind it, and October was just behind that. So those are better months when this took place. Whether that has any correlation, I have no idea, but that is what I would look at.
What we're doing is now, we just got through the pandemic, now we're going into a recession. I'm talking to the city council probably about 6-9 months ago, and what's amazing, and this is gonna affect the hotels even here, Mr. Markham told me that he used to go to a conference up in Oklahoma City, I think every 2 or 3 months. And guess what they're doing now? He said he don't, even back then, he said, I don't think I'll ever have to go back to it again. They're doing conference calls where you get online. And so instead of him traveling to Oklahoma City every 2 or 3 months, that's out now. They can do it by that. And I think probably within the next 3 to 6 months, I think you're gonna see a difference in all the
Jim,
hotels around the city.
let's get back on the items that are on the agenda.
Yeah, let me, what it is what happens is that cuts down the travel to the motels too. So I think there's a difference in that too.
And I don't disagree, but let's try to stay on task on the agenda items that we've got. It's strictly up to you guys if you want to go forward with it. Personally, I think it was a good thing for our city. It's just going to be less work for us if you do it. But I think everyone in the city enjoyed it. I also think that it brought in a very good crowd from outside the community as well. I had people that came up to me at the Magnolia Festival that specifically asked if we were going to have the concert series again. And that's the feedback we got. Our return on investment, again, I'm going to repeat that we do not generate a revenue other than through our hotels. And our hotels are the ones that mandate our taxes that we get
Well, we
in.
should be generating some revenues from food services too.
Well, as Jeff pointed out, the taxes for both September and October reflect that our lodging tax was up. I don't have but normally if you will follow the trend, normally if those are up, our sales tax will be up for those 2 months as well, because it is reflected. Those people staying in the lodging properties have to have food, they have to have gas, they have to, most of them purchase other items while they are in the city as well.
So what is the amount the fall concert wanted from this board authority?
Page 13.
How much?
Page 13.
Okay.
103,100.
And there will be I'm sorry, Charlie, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but there will be advertising cost on top of that will go.
So this is not the total amount?
No.
Advertising, so
We
total amount will be how much?
We budgeted $125,000 last year, and we came in at roughly 115.
So 10,000 below.
Mm-hmm.
So what you project this year too?
I project that, well, nothing's gone down. I'll put it that way. Nothing's gone down. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Calhoun?
Yes.
Trustee Shattuck?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Reed?
Yes. Okay, let's go to item number 6, and that is the Oklahoma Travel Show Program. And Jeremy, do you want to present that?
Sure. All right. Thank you, Board, for having me here today. So on page 14 is the title page, if you will. And if you can barely tell in the black and white there, but what we did is we went through and just pulled out the next preceding pages all the way through to 22. So on pages 14 to 22 is each individual show's detail, but then since they gave us the schedule ahead of time for the year, we'd like to go ahead and allocate funding and budget for these shows ahead of year. The Crappy Classic is the first one on there. That's the only one we're just sending materials to. The rest of these are ones that we are requesting to attend in person. So far, the shows have been great. We have another one today we're leaving for after this board meeting up in Louisiana. So traffic has been good. Road traffic and road tripping has been on the rise. So hopefully we see a lot of bodies out there.
Which one's in Louisiana? I don't see that on here.
We're getting ready to go to it. It's the very last one on the list there for next year. It's the Wing Ding Motorcycle Expo. It's in Springfield, Missouri next year. The one we're going to, you already approved last year, is the one we're leaving to this evening.
Okay.
So okay, Jeremy, I'm looking at this list here. Is it everything that you have marked, or are you going to all of these?
All the ones in pink right there are the ones we're
So
requesting to go to in person. The ones
Okay,
in
these are in black and white. You can't on these.
I know that's
Oh,
yeah.
How did you get it?
I don't
How did
know.
you
He's
get a
special.
colored one?
Probably from the bank, I guess.
He's the treasurer.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
sure.
You
So
may have to color
can you?
code
I think
these
only
for
the
us,
top one
yeah.
is in yellow, correct?
Yeah, so the top one's in yellow, and then DFW Ultimate Women's Expo.
Okay, hold on. Can you tell us which one
Uh-huh.
you're going to?
Yellow is just sending literature.
So the ones that they would be going to is the second one, DFW Ultimate Women's Expo, October 22nd. McAllen Winter Texan Expo, January 17th. St. Louis Working Women's Show, February 17th. Dallas RV Super Sale, to be announced. Northwest Arkansas Home and Outdoor Living Show on April 14th. And the Wingding Motorcycle Expo in Springfield, Missouri on June 29th.
I believe on the Dallas RV Super Sale, there's a question mark on that because we highlighted it, but I needed more information.
Okay.
I don't think that that's something that might not fit what we need for.
So what they're doing, they're going to six shows in?
That's what it shows.
1, 2, 3, 4.
That's what it shows, yes.
5,
Yes,
6. 6, and then sending materials to one other.
7 altogether.
What you've already done, did you say? This is the crappie classic?
That we have not. That's one we're requesting to send materials to for this year, for this coming year in October.
We send the Discover Durant, and then there's also, hopefully by that time, we will have the fishing guide that will be in as well.
Who do you send these to?
The
To
show
state of
organizer.
Oklahoma.
Show
Yeah.
organizer?
No.
Or Oklahoma Tourism.
No, to Oklahoma
Yeah.
Tourism, to the warehouse.
Well, that's
and
our
they
show
disperse
organizer,
from
yeah.
there.
So the cost for each of these, is it the booth? What are we,
We're doing a table.
a table,
We don't
okay?
do our booth separate
Okay.
because the state co-ops, and with the state
Yeah.
co-op, we get in at a lot less.
14,
If we do our
24.
own booth, it's much more expensive with it. I will also add that the Choctaw Nation is, that they are looking at other travel shows as well. And we will be hopefully seeing what they have to offer and can co-op with some of theirs. As we stated before, after COVID, we really haven't had a period of time. I really don't know that these are the right markets for us, and we need to actually venture out to some of these. I think Jim is the one that wanted us to go to McAllen. I think that is a good market. It's a hard show. It's a hard drive. It is a hard show. But there are a ton of those people that stop by Durant, Oklahoma on their way. They're snowbirds.
Yeah.
And they are stopping through our community. I think McAllen is definitely a good one.
If you look at all those locations, you'll notice they're all adjacent to 75 coming through Durant. So everywhere we're going is hitting right through here, and that's who we see a lot of
And
the traffic come through.
I added up just in my head, 4,375, does that sound about right?
Roughly.
4,375, that
Uh-huh.
covers all of them, except for maybe the Crappie Classic, I don't,
Yeah,
And
which
that's
would be
only
collateral
250,
production.
I think, Jeff.
250 for that one,
Yeah.
so about $4,600 is what we're looking at.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
cost
What
savings-
other expenses might there be?
Travel related, per diem.
With that would just, really, that's it, because we pick up the cost of the
Print
travel. and
production,
everything.
yeah.
We take that out of our
This is
end.
what it costs this
Yes.
authority,
Yes.
okay.
And if gas keeps going up, we may have to do something else, so.
So now, we're not going to the one in Phoenix, right? Or the one in Chicago?
Correct.
No.
I think that's too far away now.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
not
just
really
those
sure.
that we announced.
A little outside of road tripping locations, you know? Yeah.
So what's the total amount going to be for these now?
About $4,600 roughly,
Yeah.
43, 46?
46.
That's including travel and everything, right?
No, this is just including the table co-op space itself. So the travel is picked up under management fee with the chamber, and most of our collateral materials are already going to be budgeted for other things, so the collateral materials are taken care of. That's the only other cost that may come up. If we have a great show and we hand out a bunch of stuff, we might need to order more, but
Well, actually, the collaterals are already covered
That's-
in
yeah,
the
if
budget.
That's the cost to this authority.
yeah,
But the hotel rooms and all that is.
That they handle that.
Correct.
Yeah, they handle
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that's good.
Pay like a new job.
I love it, man. I love it.
Do I hear a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion.
Do I have a
Or
second?
what was the amount?
It's right at $4,600.
I'll second it.
I like the fact we're getting out.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Calhoun?
Yes.
Trustee Shattuck?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Reed?
Yes. Could I ask, we have a couple of people in the
Yeah,
audience.
we want to do those, yeah.
Yeah, could we go ahead and, can we move on? First of all, if we could, Jay, if it's okay with you, could we go ahead and do the grants prior to this? Okay. We do have 4 grants that are included in your packet.
Just-
All of the documentation is there and correct on those that are coming in.
Can we
Ms.
do
Knight,
Lindsay first?
yeah,
Okay.
Ms. Knight brought one in that I just think is phenomenal because I think it hits all of the high points that we've been wanting. I don't know if you've had time to look over the grants, but if you could briefly look at it. And then since she is here, if it's okay with the committee, Lindsay, would you mind speaking to that for just a few minutes?
The grant's on page 92.
Yeah.
The grant is on page 92.
96?
92.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for
Just
allowing me
real
to be here.
briefly, if you
Sure.
could, just tell us a little bit about what you anticipate with this tournament.
I hadn't really prepared a lot for you, so I hope it will be brief. This is our first time requesting grant funds. We've recently formed this 501c3 for the Durant Softball Boosters. It's been a parent-sponsored effort for many, many years. We're hosting the 19th annual Richard Riles Softball Tournament, which has just been supported by parents and local families trying to make that happen for the softball program for a very long time. It's grown to the point now where we have 11 teams who are coming to join the tournament, and plus the Durant team. So we're looking at 12 teams, and it's just grown to a point where we need a bigger facility, which comes with cost. And so we're looking to host that at the sports complex, and it'll be 12 teams over the course of 3 days. And we're seeking funds to help support and make that happen. I was pretty excited. Thank you all for voting for the performances that you just presented,
Concert
Janet,
series.
because that last concert series would fall on the weekend that is our tournament. So that would be fantastic. The peanut rollout, all of those things corresponds, which the coaches and the trailing families always want to know what is there to do while we're here. So that would be very exciting to coordinate that.
How many days is the program involved?
It's a 3-day tournament, so Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
How many teams come from outside of Durant?
Well, there are 11 guest teams. We have local teams typically, we do have 3 or 4 that are within our county, and then the rest, we have 5 or 6 teams that usually stay the night here. And there's approximately 20 players, plus their families. Some teams don't have a lot of families that come because they're from more modest budgets. Other teams, everybody brings a family. So we don't have any count, but we're guessing 60 hotel rooms.
So the 5 teams that you have outside of Durant?
Yes.
Where are they coming from?
I don't know if I have that in my notes. I should have that memorized for you. I'll be happy to follow up with an email.
Oklahoma City,
They come from all over Oklahoma. We're not limited to the school size or the location.
What age group is it?
These are high school teams. So that's one of the reasons we really like hosting this tournament, is it allows rivalry teams and it allows teams who are looking for competition to come together that may not see each other in the school format. And it gives a tournament experience to kids who play in school ball that may not have the opportunity to play in select ball. So they get the experience of a lot of games over the course of a weekend that they might not otherwise get. It kind of mimics how the state tournament works, so it gives kids an opportunity to play multiple games in a day and get kind of help prepare for that.
Before this year, has the Durant School Board been supplementing your?
We have used the school fields in the past, and we've used the Southeastern fields in the past, and those have just been given to the team. Last year, we tried to make that happen. We did do that between Southeastern and the high school, and the kids had to bus back and forth between the campuses, and we didn't have concessions at both locations, and that was some of the feedback that we got, is it would be a much more fun experience, because then spectators were traveling back and forth, so this would give everybody a chance to be in one place.
I was just wondering how it was funded before this year.
A whole bunch of really good parents who just said, we're going to make sure there's enough money in the Ziploc baggie to cover the umpires until we have gate fees and concession money to pay it back.
I think it's great that, number one, the multi-sports complex is being utilized for it, and number two, that they had the insight to go ahead and create a 501c3. That speaks volumes to me.
Is there a way that you could put information on about our hotels and our restaurants to the
We
team?
provide that for them, Jeff, when the grants are awarded. We then give them information to put in for all of our hotels. We place lodging guides, and that's part of the
Okay.
requirement of the grant.
And the other, and this is probably part of the grant too, Lindsay, but at the end of this, if you could get a kind of a head count of what people did, where they stayed, how many stayed, that way I think that we would like that information for next year.
We want to try to collect that so that maybe you'll help us again, too.
That's exactly right, yeah.
But I do understand your logo and, their specific language,
Right.
that kind of thing, that'll have to be included in everything. And actually, in our implementation schedule, we have some steps where we'll be communicating with the coaches who are registered about what's available here, who to contact for hotels, how to make that happen. So I appreciate that.
Are there
I-
any other questions?
No, I think, this is the type of group that personally I want to help. And they've never asked for help before, so I would make a motion that we approve this grant for $10,000.
I second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Calhoun?
Yes.
Trustee Shattuck?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Reed?
Yes.
Thank you.
Everybody.
On behalf of the softball booster parents, we're super excited. Thank you.
So are we.
Is everybody aware that's asking for a grant of the follow-up paperwork?
Yes. If you recall, Charlie, one of the things that we did not fund was due to the fact that they did not turn in their follow-up. We cover everything with them that we possibly can. We try to assist them when they come in, and I hope Lindsay can attest to this. We do try to assist them if they do not understand it. They bring it to us in time so that we look through the grant. We give them every opportunity we possibly can to hand us a completed grant. And then
Our follow-ups are usually, is it 60 or 90 days they have to get back to us?
30,
30, wow.
wrap up 30 days from the last day. Well, after the event. Okay, if we could, let's go ahead and move on to the other three. We have the Southeastern Foundation, which is a new one. The Southeast Rodeo, I think everyone is familiar with, but if you'll look at the Southeastern Foundation grant, they are asking for, Jeremy, do you have the page on that, please?
For, which one?
The grant for the Southeastern Foundation.
Yeah, hang on just one second
Here it is.
here. 80, right in the 80s somewhere.
Christie's is 82, so I'm thinking that one's the one right in front of it. Yes, it is.
Yeah, they got a lot of tax stuff.
Yeah,
This is their first.
This is their first year. That's another thing that I really want to, and we'll present that at next month's meeting. Jason, if I could, is it necessary, if we prove these and they have everything in the document that is needed, is it necessary for us to include that in the packet? Like we have their tax return from the prior year, the legal things that we have to have, their letter confirming that it's a checklist for us.
Instead of putting all of that in there, could we do like this sheet right here that has a checklist of everything?
You'll have it in the file.
Yeah, we have to, before we can ever submit it, everything has to be there. Before we ever present it to you guys, it has to be in there.
Now, we're looking at the foundation.
This is a foundation, but it's specifically for their True Blue that Jim requested the barbecue cook-off and the chili cook-off.
I did?
You did, Jim. You requested, you said, I think your exact words were, if somebody would put money into that, we could really grow that event.
I did, you know, what I was talking about is when you have the Southeastern homecoming on football, and you draw a lot of people on the barbecue. You know, when they're having the barbecue cook-off.
Did you read the grant?
Huh?
Did you read the grant?
I just know that you can get some big time people in here if you can get some money up on that, so I don't know, that's just one of my thoughts.
Well, basically, that's what the grant is for, just to shorten a little bit. It's so that they can put more effort and more prize monies into those things to enhance the crowd
What are you
and
talking
enhance
about
the
now?
project. Have you looked at the grant? Guys, we're gonna have to start looking at these before we
I
get
have
to
looked at
the,
'em, but I don't know which one y'all,
the Southeastern. We're on page 30, Charlie.
I'm there.
Okay, and if you would look at their answers, which are going to be the selection criteria, and it talks about the tailgate alley, which the foundation is one that does the tailgate alley, and what the funding will be used for, how it will be implemented. And basically, this will be the tailgate alley that they normally do, the True Blues series that they put together.
And what's the activity that's gonna be?
It's tailgate alley. It's where they tailgate at all of the different events, the football games that they have.
Yeah.
They bring in, there are 3 or 4 special things. One is a barbecue cook-off, one is a chili cook-off, and they're using a portion of this to enhance those and also to bring better entertainment into. The parents are tailgating. The tailgate is really growing and has grown for the last few years.
Well, this is for the football games.
Yes, tailgate.
It coincides with them, yes.
Yes, it coincides with them. Thank you, Jeff.
Even our Southeastern homecoming doesn't pull as many in as some of the bigger universities up north. But if you can have something to help benefit and pull some of the big people that are cooking the barbecue and the chili, and a little bit more of a prize, you know, you can bring a lot of people in. Right now, we bring most of them at 110 from around this area as far as the cook-offs.
Which also, if you think about what we talked about earlier on the revenue being up in September and October, you could probably make a direct correlation to Southeastern football as well.
And need I mention that we had a winning season?
And I think we can have the feedback from them, if they start getting in the bigger people for these prizes, surely they can, ask them where they come from and how many times, how many days or nights they've spent at the motels and stuff too. So they can find that out for us at the, football games, right?
Well,
Yes,
that may be part
yes.
of their follow-up.
That's part of their follow-up. They have to do that. If there's no questions, do we have any more discussion? Do I have a motion?
Guess how much a month?
Do we have a second?
Second.
This is for $10,000?
Yes, sir. Roll call?
Trustee Calhoun,
Yes.
trustee Shattuck,
Yes.
trustee Thorpe,
Yes.
vice chairman Reed.
Yes. Okay, now we're going to skip just a little bit if we could go back to Jay. I hate to keep doing this, but I know this is getting rather lengthy. If you would, his presentation is in 23.
So this is just a renewal of what we've done the last couple of seasons with the Southeastern Sports Network. So, of course, one thing that's unique is, aside from just the radio rights, we also retain the video rights to the broadcast. So First, I mean, let's talk price. Nothing's gone up. Everything's the same. Requesting the same amount in advertising funds, $10,125 total. Contract span that runs September of 22 through May of 23, at a rate of $1,125 a month. Some unique numbers that we got this year, and these are just numbers that come through our website, our streaming platform, because we do put this out in multiple areas, but this is the measuring that I can do. For football, over the course of the season, averaged out at 4,800 viewers per game, and that's just on the video broadcast, doesn't account for the radio. Had a watermark game of 6,600, the upset win over Harding. The low end of it was 1,800. That was later in the season against Monticello. Basketball season averaged out at 1,445, and then baseball, softball right at 1,000. That's pretty typical, just because when the games are, all that sort of stuff. The one interesting thing is time spent watching, and that's key. One thing that I think is great about sports is sports keeps you locked in. No one goes back and watches an old game. Although I will say, we did have some people go back and watch some of the archive of the Harding game, which I'm assuming that was probably local people that wanted to watch that upset. Based on what is done as far as 4 ads per game, the average length of a broadcast, all that sort of stuff, if you're looking at football, with an average watch time per viewer of right at around an hour and a half, at least 2 of the 4 ads are being seen by a captive audience. So that's really key. Basketball, the same way. If you're looking, because a basketball broadcast is significantly shorter than a football broadcast, same sort of scenario. We're getting those viewers in at least to see a couple of the ads. For the radio coverage, just so you guys can kind of see that, of course, it does scale back after football. Our football broadcast area runs basically west of Ardmore all the way into Arkansas, DeQueen, Arkansas to be exact. You can pick these stations up in New Boston, Paris, all the way down to Van Alstyne, all the way up to Savannah, and then, of course, all those places in between. Our 50,000 watt station over in Ardmore has the biggest coverage area of all. Matter of fact, on that station, we actually do Sulphur football, high school football, Ardmore football. Basketball, we lose the Ardmore station, but we still have a solid penetration going from Medill over to DeQueen, then again, that north-south run that I explained a moment ago, and then baseball, softball is more condensed to a 3-station network. The football network, for as far as radio coverage goes, covers a larger landmass than the University of Tulsa's. The video side of it, though, is where I think it's key. Radio gets a lot more of the local listenership. The video gets a lot of outside play, and you get, whether it be parents, grandparents of team members or opposing team members watching these games. And this is a way to directly promote to these people who do have a reason at some point in time to come to this town, whether it be because of sports or something that we show them on one of our ads visually entices them to come, whether it be the Discover Durant ads or anything else that we produce locally.
What kind of video do you show on that?
Okay, so our video broadcast for football is actually, it's a 6-camera video broadcast. We could pull up an archive on the computer if you want. It's won awards at the Oklahoma Association of Broadcasting. They just opened that up 2 years ago. Our company, Keystone Broadcasting as a whole, we actually conduct 9 of these every week. We do it for Atoka, Colgate, Pottsboro, Texas, Ardmore, Lone Grove, Sulphur, and then of course Southeastern. And so it's a very high, it is a very high production value broadcast. You've got it's just like watching a game on TV. The only difference is that you're just watching it on the internet.
Do you have to bring the advertisements on these?
Oh yes. It's the only thing that's being sponsored by Chevrolet nationally, not from a local standpoint, although we do have the local Chevrolet dealer on, a few of the local banks, of course, casino, things like that, so yeah.
How many years have we done this?
Last two.
Last two.
Yeah, we've done it for 2 years now. We're going into year 3. For us, this will be year 8 of our partnership with Southeastern. So,
We had contracted with the broadcasting to do this during COVID, but there was, of course, there was
yeah, we didn't have a
nothing.
football season, and so
So-
we picked up at
No.
the midway point of basketball, finished out that year, and then last year had a complete full run. So,
And that was, we were not charged for any monthly fees.
yeah, if we have COVID again,
If it doesn't happen again,
I hope not.
Video advertising.
Video and radio advertising. It's a combination deal. If you're watching the game at home on your TV, then obviously you're getting me that way. But if you're in your car driving around town, you're getting the same audio as you do on the TV broadcast. It's kind of a hybrid broadcast because we don't call a game just as a TV or radio broadcast. It's kind of got to be able to flow between both. So when we're doing a broadcast, you're getting it in both areas.
So, you didn't bring one where we can look at it. So what are we advertising? What does it say on?
Okay. Well, the video ad that we have is the video that was produced by Discover Durant and was on local television, I believe. I think it was on channel 10 or 12 or maybe both.
Both.
And that's been, we've had that ad, the live read part of it. I know last year during football season, took liberties to promote the concert series that you guys were talking about earlier, and then just whatever other events are going on locally from that standpoint.
do you have any other questions for Jay? Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the contract for another year.
Oh,
How
For
much is
another-
it?
it's on that very front page, Jim,
10,125, is that correct?
on page 24.
Yeah, it comes out
10,125.
regular billing of $1,125 a month.
September through May.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, because our first football game will be the Thursday going into Labor Day. And it'll be a home game.
I will say this, I did listen to a lot of the football games last year and basketball games. And it was really interesting because they would run ours right before they spotlighted one of the students, the athletes. And it was really impressive because I know that I've been there and I know that child's parent is listening. So is their grandmother and so is their grandfather and the rest of them that are there.
It's good.
Roll call, please.
Thank you.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Trustee Calhoun?
Yes.
Trustee Shattuck?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Reed?
Yes. Okay, thank you, Jay. Let's quickly look at the Oklahoma Tourism and Recreation Department, which is right, if you'll keep on flipping, it's right next to the grant. Page 29. Actually, Billy approached me, the one that we had been doing some advertising with the Travel Oklahoma OK, and he started talking about the different guides. And when he did, I said, we participated in 4 of those that I know of. I said, put me something together, a media package together that we can present and that's going to save us money for the year. This way, we are not having to go back. We know what we have encumbered and we know what we have to do in order to get materials ready to them to produce. The commercials are doing great on the Discover Oklahoma. We still get input. I cannot get over the number of people that watch that. That has been the biggest surprise to me. It really has. There are a lot of people that watch that.
Yeah, I watched it the other day, it looks good.
And they are branching out even more and coming in and doing more one-on-ones for us. The travel guide, we have purchased in that. The outdoor guide, we have not purchased in before, but I definitely think we should with all of the activities that are going on at Lake Texoma as they begin to grow that area there, because it does pay off for us. Discover Oklahoma, the fishing trail guide, motorcycle guide, and then Travel OK, the impressions that we get on the Travel OK ads as well, which are banner ads.
What have we done previously on this list?
We have the travel guide, we Discover Oklahoma, fishing guide. I don't think we've done that, or the motorcycle guide. And then the impressions have came with some of the other things that we have done before too, Jeff.
Are these rates
cost for
better?
that. The rates are much better. As you'll see, individually, which we did not get discounts on those, the total package would be $46,800. With the discount, we're at $31,620 on that. I think this is a good package for us.
So on these, all the guys and all that, it has Discover Durant, it's separate from.
We do, it's, it's totally separate. It just has the Discover Durant on it. That's all it has. And we do the mock-ups and the ads for these as well.
This is about the same amount we did last year.
It's less, actually.
You really?
Yeah, it's less. And it includes the outdoor guide. Because the spots that we did on the Discover Oklahoma, we did two different, if you remember, we did two different advertising. They were in different quadrants, I think is how they refer to them. We did a month right before the holiday season, and then we had done a month prior to that. But they were pretty costly. I don't know right offhand what they were, but this is less expensive than what we paid last year. And we do get hits from these. And Travel Oklahoma OK also mails these out for us. They send these out as requests and get them in all of the centers throughout the state. And they do that on our local inventory as well. And these are not billed. That will not be a total bill at one time. These are all billed separately as they are produced, which I really like that.
I'll make a motion that we do this program as presented.
I'll say.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Calhoun?
Yes.
Trustee Shattuck?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Reed?
Yes. Okay, I think we've got everything covered up to this point, so let's go back to the grants and Southeastern Rodeo.
Page.
It is going to be on page
80, page 80.
We've had really good success with this one, correct?
We have had very good success with this one. I keep trying to, how can we continue to grow this? Because these events bring tons of people to our community. Both of our rodeos do. I wish we could have an event like that every weekend, because I think that we would see sales revenues soar. I think it fills up our hotel rooms. I think it fills up our restaurants, and our sales tax revenue always is higher in those months as well.
You know, they used to have a lot of, I brought this up the other day to, when the fair board was trying to get their budget. There used to be a lot of programs that brought a lot of people in of shows for specific kinds of animals. And, like like they'd have a sheep show or, but it brought a lot of people in.
Charlie, I've been told that the facilities are what are hampering that. And I think it's still out there. The audience is still there for all of those type of things, but I think we're going to have to see a huge improvement in the facilities that we have in order to get those back. And I think the Riding Club has done the very best that they can with what they've got.
I think there's another entity that would help if they were asked.
I'll talk to you about that later.
Okay.
Because the entity that we've approached on several different occasions said no, they were not interested in doing that.
They were at one time, if we're talking about the same one.
And we may be. I will visit with you about
They won't make a
that.
big deal out of it, really.
Well, it certainly can happen, because I know the audience is out there.
Yeah, it's there.
So, are there any questions?
I make a motion that we approve $10,000 grant for the Southeastern Rodeo.
I second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Calhoun?
Yes.
Trustee Shattuck?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe? Yes. Vice Chairman Reed?
Yes. Jim, I just got a text that said you need to start talking right into they're not hearing you, so. People watch you. Okay, the last one is the Silo Softball Booster Club. This is a different grant. This is not the one that we did not fund. This is for another upcoming that will be held in fall.
It's over the same weekend as the Durant one. It's on page 108.
Do they understand the follow-up?
This is the same coach?
Yes, it's the same coach.
It's the same coach,
Yes.
and yes, Charlie, I did walk through it with him. They called back after the other tournament was complete, and once again, he misunderstood. He thought that all they had to do was just turn it in. He wasn't arguing that they hadn't turned it in time. And when I explained to him that yes, we had received it, but they did not follow the 30-day trial period, and that we had emails to back that up, that Jennifer had even contacted them requesting it. Then he understood, but he asked, does that detain me from putting in another grant? And I told him at that time, I said, once again, you are more than welcome to submit a grant to us. Will it be approved? I cannot assure you of anything. So everything is in that's supposed to be in. My concerns again are that I don't think that they're creating the hotel rooms, that I think the teams are traveling back and forth, and everything that is being done at their baseball field. Their points are very valid. They do state that in order for them to get food, if they are staying overnight, that they do have to come into the Durant area to do so.
Well,
I don't even think they generate $10,000 with the business in Durant.
mhm.
Yeah, I would have to question that number as well. I don't know if they really can do that.
It's a lot of hamburgers.
And one of the things that we had talked about before is we do not have to fund them at the fully requested amount. If we would, I would like to see better stats than what has been handed. I don't think the hotel rooms, he did tell me, and this was conversation that he gave me, I didn't request it. He did say that he had tried to work with the local hotels and that they would not discount the rooms for him. I said, on occasion, the chamber will send out a request to the entire group of hotel owners, asking if they would like to participate with a discount for this certain thing. I've offered that, as I would to anybody that says that they're having problems getting discounted rooms in hotels. They did tell me that the majority of the people that stayed were staying at the Choctaw Casino Resort because of the facilities they had to offer.
Well, I for one would like to see us table
Like to see what, Charlie? I'm sorry.
See us table it.
Table it, okay. They've gotten the grant in a period of time that it's a 90-day period. Not sure that both of those on the same weekend. It would be great if we could hopefully have an impact from that on 2 separate weekends. If we table it, we'll put it back on for next month. Do y'all want
You
to?
don't have to put it back on.
I think we do if we table it.
Table it.
Yeah, we do.
Take no action or vote it down.
Yeah, we can take no action or vote it down.
Well, I know he probably wanted a discount for the motels, but my gosh, he's looking at $10,000 for the motels on one end, and then he wants a discount on the other. That's different. I mean, I don't understand that.
Is there further discussion?
I'll make a motion that we take no action.
You don't want to vote on it today?
Just let it go.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Calhoun?
Yes.
Trustee Shattuck?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Reed?
Yes. Okay, we're finally on the end of the baseball game. We're on the 9th inning, about to roll it home. Our report, let's start at the bottom. We have the report included in it, the printed Durant area maps. That's what we requested permission to go out and research. Those are being printed for 0 cost, and we get the merchandise. So we don't have to approve anything on that. That's just
Good.
report from the Choctaw Nation Tourism. I don't think we have anything in, did we, Jeremy?
No, I have not received anything.
Okay. If you want to look at the report real quickly, and if you have any questions at all, Jeremy will be glad to answer those.
Which number? Page?
129, second to last one.
199.
Real quickly, I will mention that the billboard is up. This isn't a very good reproduction of what the billboard looks like. It's on the very end. But the billboard is up.
You know, we've been fussing about this billboard out here on the highway. It looks pretty good. It's still, I mean, it's old things, but what it is, you got all the advertising up there, and when you're having to stop at that stop sign, you're gonna read everything that's on that board in the middle of the highway.
Jim, I'm researching into the Dallas-Fort Worth area for billboards for you. I hope we have cost of those next month.
Yeah. Go ahead. Next.
Is there any specific questions you would like to ask Jeremy? Or Jeremy, is there any specific thing that you would like to point out?
Yes.
Remember, we've got to get on the road.
I get my time to shine here, and you're going to already pull the curtain on me?
Go.
No, there are just 3 things that I do want to bring to light here that have been fantastic. Number 1, that is our results out of the Magnolia Festival of Oklahoma. If you look at those bottom 3 bullet points, I just want to talk about those 3 things real quick. Number 1, over the course of, this was over a 6-day window, over 6 days, we reached over 136,000 people. That's a lot of eyes that got to see the best of what Durant has to offer. So.
From last year?
So last year, that number was a little over 20,000. Just to let you know, and that's all from social media outreach, online marketing and publications across all of our channels. So yeah, we had a little bit of a jump from last year. And with more getting out, 136,000 people reached. We had over 52,000 video views. I want to bring highlight to this because roughly about 45,000 of those are from the K4 channel out of Oklahoma City. A gentleman named Galen, who's a reporter there. He came down specifically to do a report on the Magnolia Festival, and he took a different angle on it about the trees. He did shots all around town, at campus, downtown, and at Magnolia Festival. And that video is running in perpetuity on K4's channel, so it's still racking up lots of views. So the video was really great. It wasn't just about the Magnolia Festival, but I think from a tourist standpoint, he showed a lot of really cool things around town. So I want to make sure that got acknowledged. And then the last one on there is our new followers. We've gained over 20% of new page likes on our Discover Durant, and we've gotten over 25% increase on page follows. So, and what's great about these is that these people that are following are not people from our backyard. And it's people that are from other towns and places we visited, things across the lake. We got businesses that are now following us over in Kingston and in Medill and in Atoka. I get every time we get a new person who likes our page, I get a notification on my phone and I see where they're coming from. It's all around these surrounding areas, which to me says our marketing efforts are working. It's permeating down to individuals who are deciding to follow us. They're engaged. And so couldn't ask for, I think, anything better than that. So that's all fantastic news. If there's anything else you guys have questions on about that, by all means let me know. But we're very excited to get the new fiscal year going. We got a lot of good things planned for Discover Durant. So
We have about 130,000 that visited Magnolia Fest last year. Is that what you said?
We had about roughly 100, it was 125 is what we did.
Yeah.
175 this year?
Yes, it was definitely an increase. Jeremy has done a great job with our social media, and yes, I do want you to shine because I am thrilled to death to see the numbers that we have been projecting. He and I will sit down and go over the things that we feel like, and there's certain things that we just really think are going to be the target market that we're going to see really blossom, and they don't. But then we can put something in that we're really not expecting to do well, and we'll have 40,000 hits on it.
Yeah.
It's just amazing to me to watch the data as we follow through on the things like this. But the festival, the distribution, that's one of the things I would like to point out. Our distribution, we only have basically probably another 25,000 Discover Durant,
Yeah.
and we still have half a year to go. So with the shows that we've got down, the publications that we are putting out that is a return for our investment, Charlie. It's amazing to me. Law Street Brewery, Grace was sharing with me today. She said, I cannot get over the number of people that are coming to the brewery that are from out of town. They have no connection to Durant. They're just driving to Durant. That, I think, speaks volume on how we are getting the social media out and the reach that we are doing it with.
Well,
also,
and this is, I was
yes.
going to say, if I could speak on that, because it does relate, I also handed out underneath your packets today a little packet like this. So this is out of the dining guide from Travel OK, which is one of the programs we just talked about. This is going to have a 300,000 print publication. So it's going to be in front of a lot of people. I just printed out the section because they did these by regions around Oklahoma. So if you look at the beginning of Southeast Oklahoma, what's great is that our ad kind of follows in line with how their article went. And so as you turn through their article, we kind of snuck basically an article into our ad because we have a layout of all of like our 10, these were co-opted, 10 restaurants in town, and we've got great looking shots of them. It makes the culinary sort of diversity in Durant look fantastic, and it fits right in line, just sort of colors and aesthetic and just layout. Which was great. The people who put it together, they actually wrote, the 3 restaurants they picked, by the way, were off of the dining guide we submitted to them. So that's how they highlighted those for us. So great relationship with Travel OK. They are another reason, too, that Discover Durant's got a bump. They're very active on their social media. They share almost everything we put out, and we tag and share almost everything in our region for them as well. So we've got a good relationship building with them. So happy to continue that.
And he's
When
very...
is the date of the mayor's conference?
That was just this last week, and for example, that was another one too. So on the mayor's conference,
Did you have the entrances to Did your nice and clean?
They
No,
did.
we didn't,
Oh,
because
that's not your job.
They did. It's not. You give me a mower, I'll get out there and do it, though.
No, he had it.
Absolutely.
He's doing the best.
Hey, no, on the mayor's conference, they had a fantastic time. We happen to know, I used to work for one of the shop owners that the mayor's wives came down. They took them around on buses around town. They said they love that. They like being able to go and see places, get out and shop and enjoy a little bit. And the people at UE had a fantastic time. They took memories back, like they want to come back here and do other stuff. So I think if we learn anything, if you put people in a bus and take them down to an area where there's shopping and dining, they're going to have a good time.
So did they give you any good points and bad points when they were here, the mayor?
The one I just talked to the shop owner. She said that the ladies were discussing their trip, and it was all positives. But again, it's hard to have a bad time in that store. It's a very welcoming environment,
John might have some feedback from that. Everything I heard was very good.
Yeah.
They really enjoyed touring the community and going into the different things that Ellie had lined out for him. She did a great job. She really did. Those are the type of things, and I want you to keep in mind what he said. Filling a bus and taking people places, letting them off, and then picking them up later helps. We'll approach that next month on the agenda.
I've got a piece, if you're through,
Yes.
a piece of new business I'd like to mention,
Okay.
and that's all think about it. It's kind of something that most people are aware of, but they don't talk about it. And it's beginning to affect our hotel district, and that's the homeless. And we're having things stolen out of people's trucks and vehicles. They camp out there in the trees along the highway and along the railroad track and just leave a mess. I don't know what we can do about it, but we need to do something about it. Because people, they'll get to where they won't stay here.
Well, I'll add to that. I mean, my business has had 4 instances with homeless people in the last 30 days. And I know you guys have a lot more where you're at. And 2 of these were, I believe, far more serious than something getting stolen out of your car. They were not good. And they involved some of our ladies that work at the bank. So it's a problem, but I
They were
don't.
being confronted.
Yeah. And one way or another. And I agree with you. I don't know what the answer is, Charlie, but it's a issue, and I think it's an issue in a lot of places. But it is where you guys are for sure.
Well, they're concentrated out there
Yeah,
because,
that's right. They are.
some of those restaurants, when they have things that gets a certain age, they throw it away. Well, they're right in there getting it.
Get some food.
It's happened to look at, that's happened to us, it's happened to you.
Yeah.
What is the city's position on that, John? Legally, is there something that can be done?
Well, I would say that, I'm not your attorney, but this is not really new business. It's something that could have been reasonably foreseen prior to the posting of the agenda, so this is not really a legal topic of discussion.
Right.
So I'm not going to comment further than that on it, so.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
So, I don't know, I'm looking at it this way, I talked to Charles a little bit, talked to my manager, and I don't know if we can or not, but, it looks like to me, we're trying to keep tourism here. And why can't we have, some off-duty policemen or whatever, just to watch out there, even if we have to pay to them, do this authority to monitor.
But that's-
It's it's gonna start affecting us because we had one the other night.
Is there any legal ramification, though, even if you have officers there? I don't know. That's why I was
Needs to be
asking.
on the agenda.
If we're going to discuss it, I would say, let's have that as an item, and we can definitely put that on for next month.
If somebody was a vagrant, the police would make sure that they weren't. But it seems like here lately, I say lately, the last 2, 3, 4 years, I mean, you can go down to some of these businesses in town and they'll be laying around in front of the door and go to shady. And,
We're talking about in front of Brahms, right before you go on.
yeah.
Let's talk about it next month.
Yeah, if we're going to discuss this or try to come up with, I think, to me, if there's a problem, there needs to be a solution behind that problem. So if we want to list that as an item agenda, we certainly can. So I'll talk to, I'll seek legal counsel to find out how he would like for us to place that on the agenda, okay?
We might do a little, I'll just throw this out, we can or we don't have to, but somebody's gonna have to do a little legwork if we're gonna get somebody that's competent to be a night watch person. I would.
There again, we can
You know,
discuss that on the agenda next month.
And here we will go, what it is, about 15 years ago, we had a security service, somebody around here, we can literally.
Yeah, we used to have
put,
some security
Put out a
services.
deal to where, a security service might come in, but, that'll be on the next agenda, but.
Yeah.
If we get a security service that circles about 10 businesses.
I think-
15 businesses.
I think we have legal counsel for a reason, and maybe he can help us with that in some areas.
I know that we've got some places that they can go and eat and, take care of their personal hygiene and sleep, but they don't want to because they have to follow rules.
And it's not gonna be just, what it is, we're going into a recession, people are getting to where they're $5 a gallon of gasoline and all that. So what's happening is, you're gonna have more people out there stealing and doing some robberies more than it's ever had before. That's what's happening now, people getting mad and stuff, so that's happening. Go ahead.
I was just to say, we'll make it an agenda item.
Yes, we will. We'll make it an agenda item. I need a motion for adjournment, please.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Do I hear a second? Roll call, please.
Who got the second on that?
I did.
Charlie, Jeff,
I did, thank you.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Trustee Calhoun?
Yes.
Trustee Shattuck?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Reed?
Yes.